The Derwent Catchment Project's Pasture Network has been funded by NRM South through the Australian Government. Over the last 3 years, we have been working closely with farmers in the Derwent region of Tasmania, supporting dryland pasture and grazing management. As part of the program, we established 3 pasture variety trials on more difficult, sloping north-facing paddocks. The purpose of the sites is to compare commercially available varieties for long-term persistence in these tough, low rainfall environments. We chose to run these trials because good comparisons are not readily available for producers to see what performs best over time in this region. What's in the trials? Hardy candidates from the available phalaris and cocksfoot varieties were selected, and we also included perennial red clover and a grazing lucerne to see how they went. At each site, 10 strips of different grass varieties were sown across an area of 5 hectares. The existing pastures were sprayed out and each of the trial strips were sown with DAP. The trial was established in working conditions. The preparation was typical of the property and sowing was done with the farm drill. The long game is to see what plants will be there, in what density after 10 years. But over the last 3 years we've monitored the changing density and ground cover of the different varieties to see what happens in the establishment phase. Typical of dryland pastures in this region, our trials have had to deal with dry and variable conditions, annual grass weeds, some broadleaf weeds and wallabies. So these trials have been tested. What have we found over the last 3 years? These pastures are still establishing, some are getting stronger and some are struggling along. There is a clear difference in the establishment and ground cover in these early years between cocksfoot and phalaris. The cocksfoot plants have developed a presence. They are there and growing, offering good ground cover. They have been consistently gathering momentum. Asco 1 and Uplands cocksfoot varieties are looking more promising than others. Lazuli cocksfoot appears to be preferentially grazed more. The presence of the cocksfoot plants, when counted, were more consistent across the slope. The phalaris across the sites has come and gone and not provided the same level of persistent ground cover that the cocksfoots has. The phalaris has been flipping between impressive and disappointing. Between the phalaris varieties there have been no particular standouts. However, it may well be said that the hardy phalaris developed stronger underground roots over time, as we know they have a reputation for being very resilient. The legume component, red clover and creeping lucerne, showed some promise. However, how truly hardy they are needs to be observed down the line. As part of this program, an old trial from 2011 was rediscovered and assessed. The Uplands cocksfoot and Australian phalaris were looking good in some plots. The test of time on a pasture shows what resilience really means. Drought and hard years can shift the balance of a species' survival. The importance of long-term monitoring should not be underestimated. While phalaris is a strong backstop in a dryland pasture, our trials have shown that it benefits from companion cocksfoot in developing quicker ground cover. Ideally, a blend of cocksfoot and phalaris varieties would be best for a hardy, persistent dryland pasture on those difficult sites. Hopefully red clover can offer a tough, perennial legume in the mix. Time will tell. For more information, please get in touch at www.derwentcatchment.org.